Welcome to the Luxury Listing Specialist Podcast with Michael LaFido, where top luxury agents reveal their best practices, plus interviews with real estate industry influencers, thought leaders, and luxury marketing experts. You'll come away from each episode with new strategies and tactics to dominate high-end homes in any market. And now for the latest episode of Luxury Listing Specialist. Here's your host, luxury real estate expert, coach, and trainer, Michael LaFido.
Hey everybody, Michael LaFido. Welcome to another episode of the Luxury Specialist Podcast. You're in the right place if you're looking to work smarter, not harder. If you're looking to increase your average sale price in 2023 and beyond. Again, we have listeners that are newer agents, seasoned veteran, with boutique small brokerages to franchises. They're going to be something for everybody. And from time to time, we have, of course, top luxury agents on, top producing agents, agents that have increased their average sale price, but we also have strategic partners on that will maybe help you with lead gen. And today's guest isn't necessarily lead gen specific, but it's going to help protect you as an agent from a safety standpoint, as well as a qualification standpoint. So that's who our guest is today. I'm really excited to have Josh on, but before I introduce Josh, just a reminder, if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, if you have a guest, somebody that you'd like to nominate, or you yourself think you would be an amazing guest because you have a great success story, maybe last year in 2022 or 2021, you did something really exciting, we'd love to hear about it. So shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. And 2023, there's going to be listeners that break through, no matter the turbulent times, interest rates, inflation, there's going to be listeners that have success. They break into luxury, or they dominate. You get that trophy listing. We want to hear from you. All right. So today's guest, I met a couple years back, and they have an amazing product. And so I want to introduce a gentleman that I know, Josh from Forewarn, Forewarn, Forewarn.com. Josh, welcome to today's show. Appreciate you taking time to be with me.
How you doing, Michael?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining me. Again, those of you that are on Instagram, I know you can't see our guest. It's probably best for you to go to our YouTube channel. Just @Luxury Specialist is our handle on YouTube, @Luxury Specialist. I'll put that on the screen right now. That's the best way for you to find us and to ask Josh questions or to come on camera. You, of course, can do it on Instagram, but I just might be delayed a little bit because I don't, it doesn't show up on my screen. All right. So Josh, thank you so much for joining us. You're with a company called Forewarn, and I'm going to, a couple things. I'm going to share with you a screenshot of what his company is, and it's called Forewarn. So forewarn.com, and that's Forewarn, Forewarn.com. I actually have it on the screen right now. So it's safer engagement, safer interaction. So I have this on the screen, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about Forewarn.
Yeah, so I've been with Forewarn since we introduced it about 5 years ago, but our parent company has been around for longer than that. Our leadership team, they created identity verification and risk management, fraud prevention products for a number of industries prior to Forewarn. And so they did this for the banking industry or insurance industry, industries where obviously fraud, money laundering, there's bad things that can go on of people giving fake identities or stealing identities, different things. So they had serviced those industries for a while, and then they came across the need, obviously from a real estate perspective, that says, hey, you know what, they're from a physical safety standpoint, as well as actually from a fraud standpoint, there's really no more vulnerable industry than real estate, right? If you're looking at like where are the high dollar transactions happening in terms of, with consumers, and in terms of the most volume, in terms of occurrences, it's real estate. Where are there, where, if you're a person looking to do something bad, whether it's from a fraud perspective, or something in terms of, physical threat, robbery, things like that, then, again, what's a more vulnerable industry than real estate, where people are looking to engage, right, with new prospects, with people that are complete strangers to them, and they're happy to do it. And they're happy to go meet them in a property that may be totally empty, right? And so anyway, that became evident that there's a real serious need here, and we have the data that would allow people to, in seconds, be able to verify that this person that they're dealing with, that's a complete stranger, is indeed who they say that they are.
All right, so let's just stop right there. So I have Josh on for Forewarn. Those of you that are just tuning in, Michael LaFido, you're watching our live stream here, and I appreciate everybody being on today. Again, just a reminder, if you're an agent and you get a sign call, you get an internet lead, you get a text. I've been getting all these weird texts on my cell phone. Hi, how are you? Dear friend, just random stuff. And you don't know if it's a bot, if it's getting a lot of spam calls, is this a legitimate person or not? Or you get somebody that wants to see one of your properties. As we're filming this and recording it, it's a Friday. If you get a call or a text today saying, hey, I want to see 123 Elm Street tomorrow. My name is Charles. Looking forward to meeting you. Or I'm going to be attending your open house. Or would you show my wife and I this home? Signed, Charles. Oh, great. Hey, Charles, great. Where are you guys from? Oh, we're moving from New York. Okay. Well, this product, Forewarn, which many MLSs subscribe to, which we'll get into a minute. So there's a good chance, if you're a real estate agent, I'll share with you a way that you can type in your email address to determine whether your association or MLS pays for this already for you. And if not, no big deal. There's a way for you to subscribe to this. It will save you a lot of time and aggravation. But literally, you can type in that phone number that they called from or texted you from into Forewarn, and it will let you know who's the owner of that mobile phone number, okay, and where they live and what previous property addresses and maybe cars they drive, if they've been arrested for what. I mean, it's a safety first, but it also acts as a pre-qualification a little bit. Not are they pre-qualified, but are they who they say they are, right? So Josh, pick up from there, talk about some red flags that happen in that scenario that I just described.
Yeah. So I think, the first thing that our product does is it's going to give you assurance, right, that this person is who they say that they are. And so I think that's the critical piece, because for most people that you're dealing with, they're legitimate, right? They're just raising their hand and they're saying, look, I'm looking for help in buying, selling, renting property. And so the nice thing about our product is, in a few seconds, if they're legitimate, you're going to be able to verify this person is who they say they are. And this all makes sense, right? That I can see they are from where they say that they're from, and that they live where they say they live, and if they own a property or not already, I can see that that's true or not. And so anyway, you have a very quick verification of all that information that you would have, you can gather in the just in a conversation that you're having with that person, right, about where they're looking and what they're
So the simple thing from a qualification is they are who they say they are. That's good, right? So it doesn't mean they're qualified, doesn't mean they're motivated. Those are types of things that you as a broker, you as a team leader, you as an individual agent, through dialogue, through discussions, have to take that next step. But this first step is, at least you have the peace of mind that they are who they say they are going to be. And so with Forewarn, you type in, their name and or in this case, their cell phone number. And tell me a little bit about it. Doesn't work with landline, right?
It does. The landline that is, it's not as much is the if it's a office number, right? If they work in a big office building with an extension, that's with a lot of employees, that number has never been linked to them as an individual, right? So that's the key. How our system works is it looks at, it's like, has this number been ever linked to an individual? And so I see one of the questions was like, what happens if somebody's using a fake, or fraudulent like a burner phone or maybe a cloaking app, right? Somebody just signed up for a brand new WhatsApp account or a Google Voice number or something. And so or they buy a burner phone, right? A prepaid phone from a Walmart. They paid with cash. Yeah, at that moment, that phone number has never been linked to an individual ever. And so the beauty of our
By the
system
way,
is,
great question, William. Great question.
yep,
I
yeah,
actually had, before we go into another scenario, I have a gentleman that I'm working with. He was down in Tennessee and he was trying to secure a big property, $16 million. And the forewarn on this individual, right, had terrorism and various things. So, created a lot of red flags for the agent who had to talk to their broker as far as, do I even want to go down this rabbit hole, right? Do I want to even work with this potential person, because is it going to create liability or more headaches potentially for you as the broker or for me as the agent? So that's one example. So getting back to William's question, so if it's a burner phone, so we've talked about this, you and I specifically, Josh. What percent of phone numbers show up in here if it's a mobile phone assigned to a person?
yeah. So if it's a real person calling from their mobile phone number or their residential landline, right, you're going to be able to find it roughly 95% of the time. It's extremely high. So when you miss, right, when you do a search by the phone number the person's calling you from, and again, you know it's a real person. So sometimes people will ask, to your point about like these scam texts they'll receive, or these calls or they receive where the person doesn't leave a voice message, and they look it up in Forewarn and it says no results found. Well, that's because it's some kind of whether it's a legitimate or a fraudulent marketing ploy. It's a marketing ploy, right? And so it's not a real person looking to buy or sell property. They're trying to sell you either something real or something,
Right.
some scam.
Right.
And so that's why when it says no results found, it's because it's not that our product isn't working. It's working perfectly. It's telling you that no person, our system cannot see any person's ever been linked or associated with that phone number. So now, does that mean that they're automatically a scam artist or some telemarketer? No, because there are roughly 5% of legitimate people with legitimate mobile phone numbers or residential phone numbers that for whatever reason they've been very private with that number. They've never associated it with their credit in any way. They've never had it associated with their bank, with the company that carries their mortgage, with their credit card. Those are different ways that we tie. Not all. We use more methods than that, but those are some of the foundation of methods that we use in linking a phone number to an individual. And so, yes, is it possible that someone has used a number they've never shared with anyone ever except for their family members and a few friends, and it's never been linked to them? Possibly. But that's about, again, 5% or less that you're going to find that. So 95% of the time, you're going to, if it's a real person calling from their mobile or residential number, you're going to have in seconds be able to verify that person from the list of people that it pulls up. It'll pull up people that currently own that number, as well as sometimes their family members, adult children, and then the people that own that number previously. Like I know how I have that when I look myself up, right? It's myself at the top of the list. Usually the person who owns the number now is listed there, which is my case. And then the person that owned the number 16, 17 years ago before I got it when I first moved to Florida. And so, it makes sense, right? So you're able to even find people from a historical perspective that way. But so yeah, if you search a number and it comes back as no results found in Forewarn, especially if you've talked to the person, right? You talk to them and you say, okay, this person sounds legitimate, but I can't find it in Forewarn based on their phone number they're calling me from. Then that would start to be, it's a yellow flag, right? It's not a red flag. They might just be one of those 5% that just hasn't linked that number to them, or we haven't linked it to them. But at this point, you can't verify yet they are who they say they are. So that's where you're going to need to see a photo ID, right? When you meet them in a public place and verify that this all makes sense, right? Because you'll be able to look them up still during that phone call by searching our system with their first and last name. But at this point, they could be giving you a fake identity, right? And you wouldn't know that. So you should be able to find everybody in our system. We have covered over 98% of the adult population in the country. So if you can't find them by phone number or name, huge yellow flag. Like proceed with extreme caution.
So if you're talking to somebody live, you look them up on your app, and not an app, but you look them up through your system, and they don't show up, or the name number not known, you can also search by their name. If they tell you they're from New York, If it's a very common name, it's going to be difficult. There's too many results, right? But if
Right.
it's a unique name, you might be able to pinpoint that person.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, if they told me that it's if their name is John Smith and they live in New York City,
Right.
okay, I mean I can search that up, but it's going to be over 100 results, which our system says, hey, too many results found. You have to narrow it down, right? By
Right.
a zip code, by an age range, by date of birth will get you to everybody, by the way. And that's why the identity at that point, having their ID card, having like a driver's license, for example, when you do meet them, it's important to see that because that's going to be on every driver's license. So just making it a requirement, saying, hey, I have to take a picture of your ID when we meet, or have a copy of it on file for my brokerage. Make whatever you got to, however you want to
Right.
present
Right.
that.
Right.
But you have that date of birth. You have John Smith in New York City. Our system is going to get you to that specific John
That's
Smith that was born on that day, and you're going to be able to verify his information that way.
So 98% of people that live in the states, the United States, Forewarn can verify. It's a great tool. It's a great resource. Again, if you guys have your questions, please type them in. Lisa's got a question I'm going to get to, and William's got another question. So I appreciate it. Again, if you guys have questions, just type them in the comment section, no matter if you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Again, type them in. And those of you that are watching on Instagram, I recommend you go to YouTube, and our handle is @LuxurySpecialist, and you'll be able to come on. You can ask questions, you can type questions, I can bring you on, that sort of thing. And so the next question I have is from Lisa. Lisa has been a listener to our podcast and to our live stream, so I appreciate you being on here, Lisa. What about bot numbers that are generated via computer? Same thing. Again, if it's not linked to a person, it's going to say information unknown.
Right. Yep. It'll say no results found. And
No
so
results.
again, at that point, it would be a yellow flag, right? You just say like, again, why would I'm not going to meet alone with this person. That's for sure. Right.
Right.
Even if it sounds legitimate, it's still going to be, hey, we're going to meet somewhere publicly before I'm alone in a property with you. And so, I'd be able to verify their ID with additional information. So yeah, there's a number of ways you can cloak your phone number. The big question is why? Why would somebody be using a system that is, cloaking their number, right?
Yeah.
That's using randomly generated phone numbers, right? Like a bots and different things. Why are they doing that? And the answer usually is it's either they're trying to sell you something, right? Or it's fraudulent, and they're up to no good. So that's
Yeah.
usually that's often going to be the case.
Yeah, good point. Now, Josh is talking about from a safety perspective, as far as, hey, if you're going to meet somebody at the home, you want to do your due diligence, make sure they are who they say they are through this Forewarn. Again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Michael Lafido. You're watching a live stream here, or watching a recording, or listening to our podcast. I appreciate. This is Josh from a company called Forewarn, Forewarn. I've been using it for a few years now, and Josh, you and I spoke a couple of years back, and I appreciated that conversation. Obviously, I have a platform through our podcast, our coaching, and you made yourself available to me, and I appreciate that. And again, the other way that you can use it, again, this is Luxury Specialist. We're talking about high end. If you represent sellers, of course, you got to do your due diligence, make sure somebody is approved. So you'll want proof of funds via an email, whether it be a letter from a bank or a CPA, a bank statement that they might white out, their account numbers. Same thing though. So I had a gentleman that approached us about seeing some properties from New York, a $10 million property and a $19 million property. Of course, I looked them up on Forewarn right away, and unknown results. So it was a yellow flag. I was very skeptical. Of course, I wasn't going to show them properties until I got some kind of proof of funds and could verify everything there. But that's another way, because many times in these luxury spaces, Josh, we're not even meeting at the home until we have proof of funds, because many times the seller or the listing agent requires it. So another good example there. I got Mark watching from Naples. Mark, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Always great to have you on. I appreciate your support. William's got another question. Are the results instant once the cell phone number matched to a name, or if there is a match? The answer is yes. So I can speak for Josh on this because I use this system. So literally, I get a phone number, I get a call, I get a text. I mean, I'm typing that in. Real scenario. I have a $6.5 million listing. Had a doctor call me. They wanted to see it. Boom, I typed in the gentleman's phone number. And guess what? I saw that he didn't live in the area, right? So I could, but that's okay, right? You get a lot of people that relocate. You get a lot of people that have different practices in different states. But I felt like I could do a little bit more due diligence on the buyer, so that I was prepared when I meet with them. So it's again about rapport building sometimes as well. Somebody doesn't care necessarily how much you know until they know you care. And so building rapport will help increase conversion as well. All really good questions. So Josh, talk to me a little bit about some scenarios, maybe some actual results that some of your clients have shared with you from a safety perspective, from a headache perspective, from you know um, a security perspective, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we get it's kind of, again, it's good. We love hearing it because it's affirmation about what we do and why
I
we
mean, you
do
were
it.
at NAR. I saw you again at NAR in Orlando in November. And did you have anybody come up and say, "Hey, I love your product," and they tell you firsthand experiences?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's pretty neat when we get to go to those events because we get, people come up and we get a lot of hugs. It's honestly, it's it's fun to see folks that, you change their life in some, really positive way, either by letting them, they feel like they were in a situation where they may not have been going home to their family, safely,
Wow.
and they credit our system for helping them, avoid a really really dangerous situation with a dangerous individual, or people that, like, we help them avoid a big scam, right, where they could have potentially lost, months and giant headaches. And I know one that I heard recently. I've actually heard this a few times, and I heard it a couple times at NAR, and it blew my mind because I thought it was more of a in Florida or kind of a luxury waterfront area, but it's where people are selling. They are portraying themselves as owning property that they don't own, right? But they're portraying themselves as being the owner. So they're giving them the name of the person that does own. Like, for example, in Southeast Florida. So you have a lot of property that's on the intracoastal, right? Or on the beach, oceanfront, and very high dollar, right? Always 7, 8 figure, just the land. And so people are, will look up who owns that property, and that's public record, right? So they will give that name, and they'll have fake ID and everything created. It's easy, right? Teenagers can create fake IDs, so it's not hard to do. And they'll go list that property with an agent, and maybe list it for very close to market value, maybe a smidge under, right? Just to make it a little appealing, a little more appealing, so it moves a little quicker. And the agent thinks they've come into a landfall. Of course, they're excited, wow, what a great thing. Or maybe they are a high-end agent that's used to this, right? And they just go, okay, yeah, this makes sense. And so they go through the process. But the one, they just kind of shook some folks up because it went all the way through closing, and funds were transferred. And you had somebody who lost millions of dollars, for, in terms of funds being wired.
Wow.
And that's gone, right? And it was all fraudulent, and it was something that could have been avoided, honestly. I mean, from that first phone call, if they had been using Forewarn to verify, like, hey, one, I can't verify this person is who they say they are, so if I can't, then let me go and let's see, this person I look up by name, that makes sense, right? I can see that the name they're giving me is tied to the person that
Right.
does own this property, right? So that seems to make sense, but I can't verify them by this phone number. So, and this seems maybe a little too good to be true. Then you can contact them, right? So you can't use our product for outbound marketing efforts. You can't, cold call people from using the information you find in our system. But this is a legitimate use of our product, is to contact the real owner. And in that case, you'd say, "Hey, Josh, I there's."
So in this case, would you type in the address of the property, and you could, through, like you said, public record or title companies, find their name and find their most likely mobile number and call that number?
Well, so you could find it in our system. So let's say if somebody had posed as me, right? They're not Josh Tilleson, but they're saying they are. They call you. How would you know, right? You search their phone number. Maybe they're using a burner phone or some, cloaking device to cloak their number, but it says no results found. But you look me up by my name in Forewarn, and you see, okay, yeah, this makes sense. That Josh, I do see he owns this property that he says he's looking to sell, and so that sounds right. But I can't find him, by his phone number. It seems I'd see that, and you could look at. We display phone numbers. You could look at my phone numbers. And again, anytime you're going to enter in this kind of transaction, where you're going to be, especially the listing agent on this type of a deal, it works. It makes sense to do a little due diligence, and so you can just look at my phone numbers and see, oh, Forewarn does list a mobile phone number for Josh Tilleson. That's strange. Like, wonder what the number is that this person's calling me from that I pulled no results found. What's the harm in calling me back, right, on that number to say, hey, Josh, I know we just spoke a little while ago. I'm lining up drone footage and, blah, blah, blah. Right. And just wanted to confirm, or I'm getting the listing agreement together. I wanted to check a couple more things with you. And they'd be talking to the real Josh Tilleson in that case, right? Because they called the full mobile number that's linked to me in our system, right? That's under my report in my profile in Forewarn. They call Josh Tilleson, and I'd say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I own that property, and I'm not looking to sell it, so I don't know. What is this? And I actually had somebody recently who said, it's funny. They had the scam happening. This was actually, speaking of it, this came at NAR, and they said that this exact scenario happened to them. They called the real owner. The owner was very grateful that they had gone through that extra due diligence to find another way to contact the owner, because they said, no, I'm not selling that property, and yes, that is a scam. But they were so impressed with the agent and their professionalism, their due diligence, and how they represented themselves, and that in that situation, how they were trying to make sure that they were protecting everybody. And they said, you know what? I think it is time for me to at least start considering. Maybe I do want to, look at potentially selling that property. And so, again, I don't want to, please don't make this like a ploy of a way to get new business. But just so you know, it's like, in situations where that's actually happening, people are going to appreciate it, right? I mean, they may be scared a little bit, but go ahead.
So no, great story. Keep typing in your questions. I saw your question, Lisa. William said, William gave some feedback, said interesting story. It really is, William. And Lisa, I'll get to your question in a second. But Josh, I got to imagine the title company has got a lot of questions to answer, and there's going to be some liabilities there. That's why they have title insurance. But more importantly, well, that's a whole separate topic, from a title standpoint. But in this instance, what can the owner do in that scenario at that point, not knowing if somebody's accepted an offer or their home's under contract with someone else? What can that owner do at that point to contact an authority, or to contact a title company, in essence, say, my house isn't on the market?
Right. Yeah. So I don't honestly know the steps. I do know, I saw that one of the, again, it's scary to say this. I've heard a lot of these stories, but the one that I was just referencing in Southeast Florida, the broker, that, I don't know if it was his agent, but he did a public service announcement on Facebook where he documented the whole thing. And I'll follow up with you, Michael, so you find that. And if you want to share that later, you can. But he does
have him on our show. That would be a great guest to have on.
Yeah, because he does. Exactly. And he goes through, so he talks about what happened in detail. He goes through step by step, every step of the process in terms of the offer and how, he goes through all of it. And then he talks about, I know him obviously through Forewarn. He uses our product, and talks about how our product would have saved the day and prevented the whole thing from the very start. Never would have been listed fraudulently. But then he goes into how you can protect yourself. And there's a number of things that you can do proactively, actually, as a homeowner, that you can do in terms of like almost like a like you can do with your credit, where your credit's
Yeah,
frozen
yeah,
in a sense, right? Where
right.
you can basically put like a lock on your title, essentially,
Yeah.
right? Where you have to be something has to happen with you before it can be transferred, right? And so you would know it before this could ever occur.
Hmm.
In terms of, it would still get down the line a
I
little bit
bet
further to your point.
that agent this happened to is more familiar with those kind of resources just because they want to educate themselves. Offline, Josh, connect me with that person if you would. That might be a great follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, exactly. I'd be happy to.
Yeah. So Lisa asked, how often is your data updated?
It's updated uh, constantly, but I would say generally the most normal occurrence is monthly. Okay, so that's where a lot of, there's some data that is on an instant, almost basically a live update, but that's not, that's only a portion of our data. Most of it, like property records and things like that, they're usually going to be at least a month, maybe two behind, because of the process of, like, when somebody, so that's usually where you'll see, okay, that I sold a property 2 months ago, and it still shows as being, me being the owner in Forewarn.
Hmm.
Yeah, it takes at least a couple months for it to go through the county, right? The county records, and to make its way over to our system.
Hmm.
So, but generally speaking, for most things, typically every month it's
Okay,
refreshed.
good. Yeah, great comment. By the way, William. Yeah, yeah, kind of like LifeLock. Yeah, so maybe there's an example. There's a company like Title Lock, right? So if anything is happening, you have to sign off on something. So great point. Ted Chino, Ted, appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for being a loyal supporter on our show as well, and some really good stuff there. So let's talk about how agents can find out more about your product. So first off, if you guys have questions for Josh or the team, just shoot an email to sales@forewarn.com, sales@forewarn.com. That's the best place. If you are not sure whether or not, um, is that correct, Josh? If they're not sure whether or not they their real estate board or their MLS subscribes to this, they can go to this. It's in the chat feature, but they go to this site that is on the screen right now, and that's where they would type in their assigned or their email address that's on record with their MLS real estate board, and that will let them know if they get forewarned if it's included with membership to their association or MLS. Correct?
That's right. Yeah, we have over 235 associations and MLSs around the country that provide it as a free benefit. Well, not free, because it's you're
You're
paying
paying
for it.
for
It's coming, yeah, it's coming out of your dues,
it. Yeah.
but it's free to you. It's available to you at no additional cost, right?
Okay.
And so a lot of people, there's roughly almost 300,000 people that already have access for free, and there's a lot that don't know that. So you can go to check by that link that you provided there, Michael. So you can
Yeah, it's
click
on the
there.
screen.
Yep, put your email address that you use for your association or MLS, and it will, if it does accept it, it will walk you through. If we have an account set up for you already, it'll walk you through the setup process. It takes about 60 seconds to activate your account. Your email address, if that works, will be your username, and that's how you'll always log in to Forewarn, either through the app, which you can download to your mobile device, which is probably the easiest way to use our product. But you can also, when you have service, log in from our any web browser on a
Okay.
desktop, laptop, tablet.
Yeah. Perfect. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, those of you that are just tuning in, Michael LaFido, watching our podcast, watching our live stream, appreciate our viewership, new faces, new questions. It's so great to see each Friday, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. Occasionally, there is a change in schedule. There's a conflict, but you can go to luxuryfridays.com, luxuryfridays.com to see when the next live stream is going to be. If you have a guest that you want to recommend to our podcast or our live stream, shoot me an email. It's on the screen right now. Shoot me an email at michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup. And if you're getting value from this, please leave us a like, leave us a review. Perhaps you have our book. It's on Amazon, Luxury Specials. Same thing. Don't keep it a secret. Leave us a like, leave us a review. We greatly appreciate that. And one thing, Josh, we had talked a little bit offline. There's one more URL that you put on there that's got the Our Solutions. What's that for? And I'll put it on the screen here.
Yeah. So if your association or MLS does not provide
That's right.
Forewarn, yep. So
Yeah.
you still can sign up for it on your own. Obviously, we hope that you would, put a bug in the ear of your leadership at your association or MLS, because we think that every agent deserves to have this and deserves to be safe and have access to our system. But you can still sign up directly with us. Hundreds of agents do it every month. They sign up directly through forewarn.com through that link. And there's a red button that says individual agent, subscribe now. There's an application there that you fill out. It takes us about 1 to 2 business days for our credentialing department to verify that you are indeed licensed. You have to be a licensed agent or have some type of a professional license. There are other industries that can get Forewarn, but it has to be you have to be professionally licensed through your state and have a permissible use. So agents have that for sure. But so anyway, that we will get you credentialed. After, like I say, a couple days, you'll get a welcome email that you're all set up. But the cost is $240 per year. We do require a 1 year
down to
commitment.
about 20 a month, but they prepay for the year.
Right. So yep. So you
prepay for next year, write it off on 2022's taxes.
Exactly. Yep. So anyway, that's where you can sign up for our service. And if you do sign up, by the way, and if your association or MLS does end up providing it, we actually do credit you back for once they start providing service to you, we credit you back
or something.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
So because that's what we want to incent that. We like it when that's how most of our association relationships have happened. It's squeaky wheels. People that said, "Hey, this is a great product. Why aren't we doing this?" So anyway,
it is a great product. It is a great product. And again, on our podcast, on our live streams, we bring in various guests. If you think you have a product or you have a great story and you don't want to keep it a secret but share it with others, please let me know. I have Josh on from Forewarn. I'm a customer. I'm not getting paid. I'm not an affiliate getting money to bring him on. It's just a great resource that I think you, as an agent, as a team leader, as a broker owner, or as a consumer, I mean, this is a great tool. I go on a listing appointment and I'll pull out their number in front of me. Like, hey, where's your number? Boom, 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 boom. And I say, hey, this is one of the extra steps that I do to make sure that the buyer that's coming through your home is who they say they are. Okay. And I use that on my luxury sellers. They absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's a great service that you can provide, to your point, to your your sellers, to be able to let them know that, hey, I am not only am I here to help you sell your property at at top dollar as fast as possible, but I'm also here to help offer another layer of protection for not only the deal but for your property, your home, your family, and so it's just one more layer of security that you're and value that you're able to implement. That's obviously always ways that you're looking to help add value, right? And justify your position as a sales professional in the real estate space. So
absolutely. Any other questions for Josh? Please type them in. Just type in your questions for Josh. I'd be happy to bring it up on the screen. We've had a lot of interaction today. I appreciate that. I like when people come on. If you guys want to come on the screen, click on the link that I dropped in there earlier, and we can bring you on the screen if you're driving and you want to keep your eyes on the road and not type in a question. Be safe out there. So some really great ways you can apply Forewarn. I'm sure there's other services out there, but I'm a big believer in Forewarn. I've been using them for a few years now, and I think it's a great investment. As 2023 is coming on as an agent, you have to think, what am I going to invest in that will help grow my business, protect my business, and differentiate my services from the competition? Everybody knows a real estate agent, right? So one of the ways you can do that is Forewarn, in my opinion. So Josh, I appreciate you, and doesn't look like there's any other questions right now. So Josh, if one comes through afterwards, I'll connect them again. The best way to ask your questions, if you guys want to send an email, is on the screen, sales@Forewarn, sales@Forewarn. Or they can just go to the website to find out more information. They go to forewarn.com. Josh, what's next for you? What real estate conferences are you going to next, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, good question. So I think the next one up is we attend mid-year in Washington D.C. So NAR's they're kind of, yeah, I think it's in early May. So we'll be there. There might be some things that come up between now and then. It's like we always are. We're trying to actually keep ourselves focused and not spread too thin.
Sure.
So, but yeah, we'll be at mid-year in DC, and then for folks who are on the MLS side of things, we'll be at CMLS, which I think is usually at like late summer, kind of September timeframe. So, but yeah, we'll definitely look forward to hopefully meeting some folks there. I love it when people come by and introduce themselves and say, hey, we love hearing from our users. So please, if you see us at a conference that you're at, come by, say hello, share a story that, like I say, it keeps us going and grinding every day. Cause it's, like I say, it feels like we're doing important work. We're not, we're not firefighters or, police officers. We're not risking our lives. So I can't, but it's a good feeling when I know that,
Sure.
that we're helping folks, just to, live a better, safer life. So,
Yeah,
yeah, we
absolutely. It's
definitely
a
love
great
hearing.
product for that. One of the things I keep saying, make somebody's day. Well, you make somebody's day if you sometimes it's a bummer, like, oh, that buyer isn't real, but you'd rather find out now than getting too far down that rabbit hole. So, Josh, I appreciate you. Josh from Forewarn, appreciate your time. Keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Michael.
All right,
Thanks so
thanks.
much for having me.
Yeah, make it a great day. All right. So, guys, you guys have been great listeners. Again, if you have any questions for me or you want to nominate somebody for this show and our podcast, shoot me an email, Michael at Marketing Luxury Group, Michael at Marketing Luxury Group. Depending on when you're listening to this, don't forget, if you need some swag, you can go to luxuryspecialsgear.com, Luxury Specials Gear. We got gear for women, men, hoodies, long sleeves, short sleeves, and some of our most popular products on luxury specials gear, including our objection handling playing cards. So check that out. Again, my name is Michael Fido. You're listening to another episode. I appreciate you. Make it a great day. Until next time, prove others wrong. Take care.